hands, we have 4 people in this toy economy, as I sometimes call it, who have $1. 2 people each have $2. And finally, the remaining 2 people each have $4. So that this is very helpful. Now remember, I'm going to say this a few times perhaps, we always have to look in terms of cumulative fractions. So before we do anything else, we want to compute our national income so we can have fractions of national income. And we can see that this is 16, 4, 4, and 8. So what I'm going to do next is to set up the Lorenz curve. And this we do by looking at our fraction of the population on the x-axis. You can do this in percentages if you want, but you have to be consistent. Over on the y-axis here, we have the fraction of the national income. And the fraction is between 0 and 1, once again. We always set ourselves up for this before proceeding by writing down the line of perfect equality. I'm going to call that LPE today. And then we want to see what our Lorenz curve looks like in relation to that LPE. So the first thing that we can see is that half of the people, the bottom 1/2, keeping in mind always that we have to order people. We order people by convention from the lowest income to the highest income. If you don't order people, you'll get no information at all, so please do that. I mean, conceivably, as I've said before, you could order people from richest to poorest and get them, you know, the mirror image, but this is the convention. And if you don't order people in a systematic way, you will end up without information. And then you're going to have to do this cumulatively. So let's just keep that in mind as we go along to be clear about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we notice that everybody in the bottom half has the same income as everyone else in the bottom half, right? It's all ones. So what we know is that 1/2 of the population, 1/2 of the population has 4 out of 16ths of the national income, which is of course a quarter. So this enables us to find our first point, key pivot point, on the Lorenz curve. We can draw this as a straight line segment. The reason why it's a straight line segment is because everybody in this bottom half has the same income as everyone else in the bottom half. All the information is here. We just have kind of quickly used the information we have right in front of us. But of course, what this means is that the bottom 1/8 has 1/16, bottom 2/8 has 2/16, bottom 3/8 has 3/16, and so on. And we could work those points out one by one if we wanted to, but we're going to do this efficiently. So then proceeding, what we can remember is that everything has to be cumulative. So I'm really underscoring several of the points that became issues in the cases where people had issues, right? We have to look in fractional terms. These are not numbers on either side of this axis. These are fractions. We have to treat them cumulatively. Right, so then we see the next 2 people each have an income of 2, so we can group them also. So now we're going to look cumulatively at the bottom 3/4 of the population. So the bottom 3/4 of the population has 4 plus 4, or 8 out of 16, that is to say 1/2 of national income. So 3/4 of the people are going to have 1/2 of national income. So we found our second key pivot point here. And this will be a second line segment. It reflects two people. This Lorenz curve is not drawn to scale. It's sketched today, right? So then, just as a check for ourselves, make sure we did things right, we know that 100% of the people have to have 100% of the income, or it doesn't make sense. So what we have left to think about is this top 1/4 of our population. And we know that the top 1/4 has 8 out of the 16 national income dollars, or in other words, 1/2. And fortunately, yes, we did it right. That adds up because indeed, our last quarter does have 1/2 of national income. So we can complete our line segment like this. And that is our construction of the Lorenz curve. So with these few things to keep in mind, I think everybody will always get this right. First, we're always talking about fractions, or if you want, percentages, not numbers, and not even fractions here and percentages over here, right? So fractions and fractions. These run from 0 to 1 in both cases. We remember that what we're doing is cumulative, or else we don't have what we're looking for, and we use all the data that we have. If we do that, we have 3, not 2, but 3 line segments here, because there are 3 different incomes that people have in this economy.